Hello and welcome to Gazette discussion for 8th June 2021. My name is Harsh Singh and I shall take you through all the articles that we have covered in the Gazette today. The first and the featured news for today is on ethanol blending. In this article, we will understand why the government is enforcing a faster blending of ethanol and what is its need and challenges. This day in history is about the first international flight that Air India took in the year 1948 on the same day, 8th of June. In the snapshot section, we have got three important articles for today. The first one relates to State of India's Environment 2021. This is an important report released by Center for Science and Environment. The second article relates to crop loss because of pests, and this is happening more so because of the climate change. Important article. The third article is about Performance Grading Index report, which is released by Ministry of Education. Image of the day is about Cease Not, which is happening at Sea of Maramara. Four important terms that we deal with today are Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, the Software Technology Park of India, Corbevax, good development for India's vaccine production. We'll discuss it today. And United Nations Global Compact Water Mandate. Two editorials for today are India's involvement with G7 and relation with China. And the second article is about China and Bangladesh in terms of Bangladesh participation in Quad. The case study of the day is about a brave man, Satyendra Dubey, and his work ethics. Let's start. The featured news for today is on ethanol blending. The government has advanced the date for 20% of ethanol blending with 80% of petrol to the year 2023. This is the deadline. Earlier, the deadline was fixed at 2030. In this article, we will understand what is the reason for government advancing this date, what are the various initiatives the government has taken in this regard, the advantages of ethanol blending, and what are the constraining factors which hold us back to achieve this aim, right? Presently, 10% of ethanol is being blended. If 10% ethanol is blended, it is called as E10. Similarly, 20% of blending with 80% petrol will be called as E20. However, to achieve this E10, we do need inputs. The input here is sugarcane, which is not available in sufficient quantity, and therefore not all the petrol that we have is being blended to E10, right? And therefore the sugar industry has been asked to divert the surplus sugar to this sector for blending. The government also has taken a number of initiatives in this regard. For example, government has reduced the GST rate for ethanol, which is meant for blending. Pilot projects for E100. E100 means 100% of blending of ethanol. They have already been initiated. Government has introduced the concept of soft loan and PMG1, financial support for starting such projects. What is the full form of G1? G1 stands for Jaiv Indhan Vatavaran Anukul Fasal Avshesh Nirvaran Yojana, right? Financial support for initiating such projects. And there is a Parivesh portal. The main idea of this portal is to accelerate the environmental clearances for such projects, right? Now, these are the initiatives that the government took. Now we must understand what is the basis for ethanol blending. What is ethanol? Ethanol is a chemical substance which also acts as a fuel, as a renewable fuel. It is produced through two methods. One is through fermentation of sugar, and the second is through petrochemical industrial processes, right? Its main advantage is that if we mix it with petrol, it yields a higher octane number for the fuel. Octane number is related to the efficiency of the bursting of the fuel. That means we will use less fuel if the octane number is high, and this is what the use of ethanol is providing us, right? And therefore it is required. National Policy for Biofuels 2018, it talks about four generations of biofuels, right? The first generation of biofuel is the edible biomass. That means sugarcane, beet, wheat, corn, they can be used as input to produce ethanol. The second generation of the biofuel are the non-edible biomass. For example, bagasse. When sugar has been extracted from sugarcane, bagasse remains. Molasses are there. Wood, straw, grass, waste products, right? Biota, all these can be utilized. So this is how we see more efficiency in the generation that we succeed. in the usage of biomass. The third generation talks about use of algae for ethanol production. And the fourth generation is about the use of biotechnology and pyrolysis, etc. products, right? So these are the four mechanisms, accelerated mechanisms that the government is trying to initiate. And right now we are at the first and second level. Now, the way it is produced is like this. Sugarcane is extracted and utilized for fermentation. It is the process of fermentation is the process of chemical change in the sugarcane product through chemical action, through enzymatic action. After that, the ethanol which is produced is purified and taken for blending. This is where petrol is mixed in various proportion with ethanol. And after that, it is transported and sent to various petrol stations for delivery, right? So this is the whole process of ethanol production. Now, why does the government want to accelerate this deadline of 2030? There are various very, very important and critical reasons for it. It is very far-sighted and very good. You must know and put them in your answers. First of all, the spending capacity of the people in India has increased, and people will pay for consuming petrol products as well. This is the time, this is the right time to introduce an innovative product for which the people will be ready to pay. Also, the energy demand has increased. So since increased consumption is there, we can have this alternative product as well, right? Secondly, we import most of our fuel, and because we import them from Middle East, there are repercussions for that as well. Importing from Iran, there are a lot of instability issues in Middle East, and import expenditure also is very high. And therefore, if we have a domestic product as well, it will be very good for our economy. Now, there are hazards also. For example, if we use petroleum and similar products, there are more hazards as compared to using ethanol. Ethanol is more efficient because of its high octane number. Sugar industry. This also provides a boost to the sugar industry, as the sugar and sugarcane products, the waste biota products, they can be very well used in this biofuel sector, right? So there will be a forward linkage for the agricultural produce in this industry as well, fuel industry as well. It will provide a good boost to sugar industry. Next, it will of course generate a lot of sources of employment, right? So these 5 points are very important, for which the government has increased the deadline date to 2023. However, there are certain challenges in the whole process. For example, the first challenge is that to produce 1 liter of ethanol, we require as much as 3,000 liters of water, because sugar cane also takes in a lot of water as input, right? So the water footprint is very high. And more so in a country like India. It is not as much in US and Brazil, but India faces this issue of efficiency. And that is where precision agriculture comes into play, that we discussed the last day. Now, the second channel is having sufficient feedstock. Do we have sugarcane production all throughout India? No. For example, Northeast states. Now, these are the places where we need to transport sugarcane to, so that we are able to blend. Otherwise, there is no blending and only selling of petrol in those areas. So sufficient feedstock must be maintained. And the next one is related to vehicle manufacturing. Now, vehicles also need to evolve and change, because the input of fuel is changing in its quality. So flex engines relate to flexible engines. The government has asked the manufacturers of vehicles to make their vehicles flexible in their engine capacity. For example, if the vehicle could run only on petrol, now it will be able to run on blended petrol, right? So this is another challenge which has to be overcome. Next, environmental clearances. These new projects have to be accelerated with environmental clearances, right? And regional mismatch. As I said, there are certain areas where ethanol production is not, where the production of sugarcane is not happening, and therefore there is a regional mismatch. Imagine times when there are natural disasters. Imagine times when there is corona and there is less mobility. Because of these issues, there is issue of production of the sugarcane and ethanol blending, right? Now, what are the way forward? First, phase rollout. We can't have it in pan India. All right, we will roll it in those places first where it can be initiated to begin with, right? Single window clearances. If there are clearances to be done by government at policy level, we will design those mechanisms where all the clearances are given in one go. Second, what is the need to jump from E10 to E20 immediately. We can start with E12 and E15, right? Ethanol blending to 12 and 15%. This will help the industrial sector as well. For example, automotives, right? They will be able to use E12 far easier than E20. E20 will be a lot of change for the engine, right? So this can also help. The third is educational campaign. People can be made aware that this is a better product and that this must be used, right? So this is an important article about ethanol blending. And in this article, I will quickly recap for you so that you can note down the important pointers. The government initiated this project of 20% blending and it has accelerated its date, right? The second reason, the important things about this to be noted is that the government has taken various initiatives. For example, note down PMG1, GST rate, pilot project in Pune, soft loans and Parivesh portal, right? These are government initiatives. This could be a question in itself. Then what is ethanol blending? We have understood the role of octane value here and how ethanol is produced. National policy on biofuels talks about 4 generations, and you must note down all the 4 generation of biofuels. Here they are, right? Okay, next, what is the need of having ethanol blending? 5 needs. One is consumption based economy. Second, it will substitute imports of fuel. Third, it will reduce the social environmental hazard. Fourth, benefit to the agriculture sector. Please note down. Fifth, employment. It will help in employment generation. The issues associated with it are water usage, high water usage. Second, don't have sufficient feedstock, don't have sufficient amount of waste products and the sugarcane, right? Third, vehicle industry needs to buck up. Fourth, environmental clearances and regional issues have to be balanced, right? This day in history. Today is the day, 8 June, when in 1948, Air India took its first international flight from India to UK. Important people on the plane were J.R.D. Tata and the Nawab of Jamnagar. It was a Lockheed Martin plane, 40-seater capacity. The first news snapshot is on State of India's Environment 2021. This report is presented by Center for Science and Environment. It is a holistic report which presents the analysis of what happened to the country in the last 1 year. The first important topic it picked to analyze was the pandemic. Pandemic has caused a lot of economic devastation in the country, pushing millions of people to extreme levels of poverty. Rural India has been impacted the most, and level of unemployment has increased drastically, especially for the marginalized sections. Biomedical waste is another area of concern which has been in news because of the pandemic and its various side effects. Climate change already happening, but this decade has been declared as the warmest decade, right? So climate change is another issue India is tackling with. Internal displacement happening because of the natural disasters, and the present crisis of pandemic is another issue that the government has, that the report has pointed here. It says 76% of internal displacements in the world were triggered by climate disasters. Very important. Now, it also spoke about India's capacity to initiate renewable projects which are not complete. In case of biodiversity, it speaks about the depleting biodiversity, especially in the biodiversity hotspots that India has: the Western Ghats, the Eastern Himalayan region, the islands, and the Indo-Burma region, which it says is the worst hit, right? This brings us to biodiversity hotspots. What are they? Biodiversity hotspots are those places on earth which have high amount of biodiversity and yet they are threatened because of human habitation. The 2 important qualifying factors are: one, they must have either 0.5% of the diversity or 1500 species of vascular plants as endemic. Endemic means they are grown in only that particular region. They're not grown elsewhere in the world. Only this region, a particular region, will have 1500 species. If it has, it can qualify. The other criteria is the place must have lost 75% of its primary vegetation, right? Now, these biodiversity hotspots largely contain 60% of plants, animals, amphibians, etc. species, and they are located in 2.4% of earth area, which is 16% of land surface. 2.4% of earth area, that means of the ocean and land bodies included, 2.4%, and it is 16% of land exclusive area, right? 60%. And that is why there's increased pressure. Also adding human habitation. And this is why biodiversity loss is getting accelerated, right? It has also spoken about sustainable development goals and India's progress. It talks about India slipping in two places, slipping back two places because of various issues. For example, hunger, food security, gender inequality, resilient infrastructure shortage, and sustainable industrialization, which is lacking in the country. One of the factors can be attributed to the corona crisis. So in this article, you can point out the CSE while you write answers, the various reports. For example, pandemic, you can mention the credible report by CSE. The name of the report is State of India's Environment 2021 report. And you can mention about pandemic, you can talk about internal displacements, right? So note down this important data. You can also note down data on biodiversity loss in India, especially on Indo-Burma hotspot. You can note down SDG goals that India is lagging behind and the climate change issues, right? Okay, moving ahead. The second snapshot for today is on crop loss because of pest. Food and Agricultural Organization has said that 40%, as much as 40% of crop loss happens because of pest attack. A very important data. It is important to know that this pest attack is not a feature in itself. It is a result of certain other activities. One important activity is global travel and trade. This is the first reason the FAO has pointed because of which pest attack is increasing. The second factor is weather. These are the two important changes. The weather changes, climate change has accelerated pest attack, right? For example, the warming of climate has ensured the breeding and transfer of more pests to the tropical and temperate areas. One good example is the desert locust. Now, this is a locust. We have started seeing more attacks of locust in western and central part of northern part of India. Why? They do not actually breed here. Most of the breeding grounds are in Africa. Because of the climate change, because of warming of these areas, the ocean areas, there have been more breeding. These locusts breed in the warmer climate and they feed on crops. Their requirement is to feed on crops. They feed on these crops. However, because of the air and because if there is sometimes famine and less food production in African region, they look for food and they are also blown away towards the western side of India and Pakistan in search of food. And this is how they spoil the crops in the western part of our country. Climate change induced movement of the winds, climate change induced sea surface temperature. This leads to more breeding of locust in the western sector of our country, right? This is how it impacts. So what are the recommendations? Recommendations are using preventive measures. For example, we must analyze the risk and survey, right? India and Pakistan are coordinating at international levels. India-Pakistan cooperation is happening to control pests because this is not only affecting India, but Pakistan as well. The borders are not for pests. They keep moving eastward from Pakistan to India. In fact, they travel all the way from Africa to Middle East to India. Technological developments. We must have nanofertilizers and pesticides which can be sprayed to avoid their progress in these areas. So international cooperation in this field is required, right? So please note down this important statistical data, 40% crop loss due to pest, and write down the name of the organization, very important here, which has issued this data. The two important reasons are global travel and trade, which because of which pest also spread, right? They are also exotic species to many areas, but they spread and they are invasive in nature as well, right? The second is climate change. I gave you a good example of the desert locust. The preventive measures, international cooperation is required, technology is required, and then analysis, risk analysis is also required. So please note down this important data and keywords. Moving ahead, we must also understand the impact of climate change on the pest attacks. First of all, there has been an increased damage. There's been an increased damage of the crops because of climate change. The area that the pest used to attack has already increased to temperate areas as well because of warming and conducive temperature, right? There has been a cycle in which pests attack at a certain time and not at a certain time because of fixed cropping patterns, right? Now, if there is monoculture, there will be increased pest attack for that particular crop. Decrease in biodiversity leads to more pest attacks, right? Also, there has been increased resistance amongst the pests because they have become more resistant, just like antibiotic resistances, right? So they have become more resistant to the available fertilizers. The next snapshot is on performance grading index produced by Education Ministry. This report was firstly prepared in 2019. Its intention is to highlight the gaps and to prioritize those areas where improvement in the states is required to be able to give optimal education to all the people around the country. The most important thing to understand here is that none of the states could secure the highest grade, that is grade 1. However, Chandigarh, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Andaman Nicobar and Kerala had grade 2, the second best grading. Ladakh Union Territory had the last grade because it was the first time it was included in the calculation here, right? There are 5 broad categories which are included to be able to grade the states and UTs. The first one is access to education. Then we have governance and management, infrastructure, equity, and learning outcome. Learning outcome means how many students are having the required skills. For example, problem solving in mathematics, being able to read effectively in English. This is outcome. What is output? Output is passing class 3rd exam, passing class 5th exam. But outcome is based on the performance, based on the skill that students have gained, right? The states are graded and not ranked because the idea is not to increase competition. The idea is to increase the outcomes among the various states, right? So please note down the 5 broad categories, right? And also note down the name of this report, performance grading index, produced by Education Ministry, and the various states which have performed well. Please read. Image of the day. This is the image of Sea of Marmara in Turkey. This phenomena is called as sea snot. Snot literally means the sticky substance produced in our nose. Sea snot is not that substance. Sea snot is the overproduction of algae, overproduction of the phytoplanktons in any area because of increased amount of nutrients transferred to the water body or conducive climate. For example, warm oceans which aid for the growth of the algae in the particular region. They are harmful for biodiversity. However, these snots are the litter and they are marine productions of these small microorganisms, right? Let's see why it happens here. Now, this is the Asia Minor region and this is where Turkey is located. Here in Turkey, one side is Black Sea and the other one is Aegean Sea, which leads to Mediterranean Sea. Sea of Marmara is an enclosed sea. Now, this is the place where less mixing of water happens. And if more amount of wastes, for example, agricultural waste, industrial waste are input here, that means this will lead to increase in production of the sea snots. This is what has happened in the particular area. That is why in news. The first term and concept for today is Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. This organization was formed in 1989. India is not a member of it. We have countries like China, USA, Canada, Russia, and all the countries adjoining the Pacific Ocean on its west side and eastern side, right? The idea is to have inclusive, balanced economic development. The idea is to accelerate the trade and commerce between countries by having better procedure at customs, more exchanges in business, etc. The second term and concept for today is Software Technology Parks of India. Now, these parks are established for specific technologies, the emerging technologies in Indian domain. For example, Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics. Now, the idea is to promote the production of this technology in terms of services and products. And that is why this has been news, because 12 Center of Excellence have been established in India under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. The next term and concept in news is Corbevax. This is an indigenously developed vaccine by Hyderabad-based company called as Biological E. It is undergoing clinical trials right now. And the important thing to note about it is used as recombinant protein subunit. There are certain vaccines which are formed because of injection of the virus itself. And there are certain vaccines which are produced because of the usage of the protein of the vaccine, emulating similar circumstances. So this usage is recombinant protein, right, in itself. The important things about it is that it is cheaply available, and then it will have two dosages. The next term and concept is United Nations Global Compact CEO Water Mandate. It is in use because NTPC has become a part of this prestigious organization. It was formed in 2007, and it has important agenda of conserving water, having leadership in water domains, sanitation, and sustainable development goals related to it. One of the important thing that it does is that it tries to improve the condition of the river basins which are at risk around the world, right? Case study of the day. One of the important ways to exemplify courage is to face fear and yet keep performing duties. It was rightly depicted by Satyendra Dubey, who was an Indian civil servant who was employed in National Highway Authority of India as project director. His main job was to ensure quality construction of roads. If the roads would not be of quality, he would ensure that the contractors continue production of quality roads. He would enforce them to rebuild the road. However, later he found out that there were a lot of cases of corruption and financial irregularities in the projects, and therefore he reported to the Prime Minister directly, the erstwhile Prime Minister. Somehow his name was revealed, and because of which he lost his life. He was killed. However, his life did not go in vain. We understand the various values of fortitude. Fortitude means mental strength, integrity, dedication to duty, right? Even in face of fear, he depicted these qualities. Also, after his death, important acts like Right to Information Act and Whistleblower Act were formed to secure people like him, secure the valuable contributors to the social development like him. Thank you.